Have you guys ever felt overwhelmed by weapon parts in a Borderlands game before? If so, you'll probably run for the hills when I say that in Borderlands 3, every single weapon type for every single manufacturer has their own weapon parts. Jacob shotguns have their own set of parts that are completely separate from Torg shotgun parts, and both sets are completely separate from Hyperion shotgun parts and, well, you get the idea. But don't worry, here we're only going to cover Vladof Assault Rifles, which only have about 50 parts give or take. No big deal. We're not going to be looking at any uniques or legendaries because the parts that make those guns what they are not going to be on any other gun. However, many of the parts that we are going to look at will be able to spawn on legendaries and uniques, so it might be good to know what you can get. We're going to start with the body, shown here. Every Vladof Assault Rifle will have the same body, no matter the rarity, and the body has a chance to spawn with up to 3 accessories. The first accessory will increase your damage by 10%. The second accessory will decrease accuracy bloom by 25%. The third will increase fire rate by 10%. That's it for the body and its accessories. Very brief. Now for the fun part, the barrel. You can have 5 different barrels on Vladof ARs, with each one having its own set of accessories that no other barrel will see. The barrel will also determine the gun's base name, which are all super fun to say by the way. We'll look at them now. First we have the Bezoomy, which is your classic spinny gun barrel. It has a faster fire rate than the other barrels, but a lower damage and a lower accuracy. This barrel can have 3 attachments. One here that gives an accuracy buff of negative 15%, and I have no idea why it's negative and a buff allegedly, but it is according to this green arrow and green text. Then there's one that increases damage by 10%, and a third one that increases fire rate by 10%. The Maslo barrel is next, and it has the only melee attachment that you can get on a Vladof AR, giving a 60% increase to melee damage, as well as a 25% decrease in accuracy bloom. It also has an accessory increasing damage by 10%, and a third increasing fire rate by 10%. The Maslo has a lower fire rate but a higher base damage than the Bezoomy. Next we have the Oddy-knocky, which has a base damage and fire rate somewhere between the Maslo and the Bezoomy. It can spawn with an accuracy bloom reduction accessory, decreasing it by 25%, one accessory increasing fire rate by 10%, and a second accessory that increases fire rate by 10%. Then we come to the Shlaga, which is pretty similar to the Maslo in terms of fire rate and damage, but has a higher accuracy rating. It has an accessory that gives minus 15% accuracy, one that gives 10% more damage, and another that gives an additional 10% damage. Finally, we have the Burzum, which is the alien barrel variant of a Vladof AR. This will turn your gun into a laser that consumes 2 ammo per shot, while still using your assault rifle ammo. This thing can spawn with one accessory that increases your weapon's magazine size by 10%. Now that your head's probably spinning trying to remember all of this, let's take a look at the grips. There are 6 of them. The first will give you minus 12% accuracy, a 10% increase in magazine size, and lower your damage by 5%. This grip can also spawn with 2 accessories, one giving you minus 20% accuracy, and the other increasing fire rate by 5%. Now out of every grip I looked at, this was the only one that had any grip accessories. So while I didn't see any on the other ones, they may have one or more, so keep an eye out for them if they exist. This first grip is the only one that has a very distinct look. The rest of them look very similar but are differentiated by the stock portion of the grip. Here you can see the stock hanging off the end of the gun on the right side. The grip portion is underneath the body and looks the same for the remaining 5 grips. This one here reduces recoil height by 15% and decreases accuracy bloom by 20%. The next one reduces recoil width by 30% and increases damage by 5%. The next one here decreases reload time by 5% and increases magazine size by 10%. The next one will give a fire rate increase of 5% and has 2 different instances of a minus 30 weapon sway reduction. Only one is good indicated by the green and one is bad indicated by the red. This might be the most confusing thing I've seen while looking at these weapon parts, and maybe it's a bug, who knows. But it's here, so here you go. The last grip will give you a decrease in reload time by 5%, increased accuracy bloom by 25%, a positive 10% accuracy bonus which again is bad for some reason, and a 30% damage reduction. This sounds pretty terrible, right? A 30% damage reduction and accuracy penalties on top of that for a 5% increase in reload time? Well, the thing you don't see here is an unlisted projectile on the part. This will actually give you 2 projectiles for every shot. You can tell if your gun has this because it will have the annexed prefix. So that's it for the grips, and now we come to the foregrips, of which there are 3. The first will give you minus 10% accuracy and a fire rate increase of 5%. The second will decrease your recoil height by 30% and provide a 5% damage boost. The final will decrease your recoil width by 15% and decrease your accuracy bloom by 30%. Now on to the magazine, which can also come in 3 variants. The first having a size of 40 while increasing damage by 10%, the second having a size of 60 and decreasing damage by 10%, and the third having a size of 50 while receiving no damage bonus or penalty. Now for sights. You have 4 different options for sights on Vladof ARs, 3 scopes and a set of iron sights. The first scope has 1.5 times zoom, the second has a 3.3 times zoom, and the third has a 5 times zoom. If you don't have a scope, the iron sights will show up as their own part. If you do have a scope on your gun, you will also have a rail underneath it, which can come in 2 variants. The first will give you minus 10% accuracy, while the second decreases your reload time by 5%. The Vladof manufacturer bonus is that they have various underbarrel attachments, resulting in a number of different parts reflecting this. One that you can get is an underbarrel grenade attachment with a 2-shot magazine. This can sometimes spawn with an accessory, doubling the mag size from 2 to 4. You can also get an underbarrel shotgun attachment that gives you a 4-shot magazine. This can spawn with an accessory giving a 50% increase in magazine size, resulting in a 6-shot mag. In addition to these, you can get an underbarrel bipod that reduces recoil, sway, and improves accuracy. There is one special underbarrel attachment that can only spawn on Bezoomies, and it's a second Bezoomy barrel. This attachment can spawn with either an accuracy accessory giving negative 15% accuracy, a fire rate accessory increasing it by 10%, or both. One more thing to note about underbarrel attachments, if you get the alien barrel, it will always spawn with a 1-magazine underbarrel grenade attachment. As far as elements go, you can have any one of the 5 elements on a gun, those elements being fire, shock, corrosive, cryo, and radiation. Let's be real, there's a lot to remember here. But to try and help with all of these parts, I made a table showing everything I found that can spawn. And while I did look at a high number of Vladof ARs, there may be some parts that I didn't see and aren't listed here. But if you see a part that's not on this chart, it's probably pretty rare. Anyways, that's gonna do it for Vladof ARs, guys. Good luck with trying to remember all of this.